Brought to you by Dragon's Den.
What's up, gamers? Kevin here again at Dragon's Den Games. Here with Doug. You might know him as our Sarge, our Warlord rep.
Hey
he's here to talk to us about this exciting new game, Terminator Genisys. Don't worry, it's much better than the movie. All right. So I'll let Doug take it from here.
Well, Terminator is a new miniatures game designed by Riverhorse. That is Alessio Cavatore's company. And you guys may be familiar with Alessio because he kind of wrote Lord of the Rings strategy battle game. He wrote Warhammer Fantasy 7th edition, one of the 40k editions, one of the better 40k editions, Kings of War, any number of other games that he's been involved in. And I actually believe that after having read the Terminator rules and having played several games now, it's probably one of the finest and most elegant rule sets I've ever played in my entire life.
I agree.
One of the things that I really like about it is instead of using a lot of different modifiers, you know, when it comes to rolling dice and stuff, you have to keep track of pluses and minuses and stuff like that. It uses a system actually similar to, if anybody's familiar with Stargrunt or Tomorrow's War, dice shifting mechanics. So you'll have something, you'll always have a static target number, and you'll use like a polyhedral die in order to beat that target number or an opposed die roll. And if, say you have this 8-sided die and you need a certain target number or higher, it might shift up if you're aiming or doing something special, so you have a D10, and so on and so forth. So the dice shifting actually lets you know, certain special abilities happen. Sorry to ramble.
That's all right. No, I mean, basically, what our core mechanic is you start off with your skill die. If something positive is happening, you might shift it up. If something negative is happening, you might shift it down.
Yeah.
And that's basically our core mechanic.
And once you've learned those rules, you've learned 95% of the rules.
Yeah.
You know, the dice shifting core mechanic, very elegant solution. You know, like I said, once you learn it, you've got it all down pat. So every model, this is very much a skirmish game. You know, models activate at a time, and each model has a particular amount of stats. You know, very simple to keep track of. Every model has a skill, every model has an armor value, and every model has a resolution value. Now the skill value is kind of, you know, indicates what die you need to roll when it's trying to do something. Like if it needs to shoot at something, it might need to hit on a 4 or higher. So a generic human might roll a D6, so it has 50% chance. Whereas an endoskeleton, you know, has a higher skill level, D8, so he has, you know, hits on a 3 or higher and a 1 through 8, so a much higher chance of getting that hit in. And once you do actually hit somebody, you know, you have to roll against their armor value in order to kill them. If you fail to do that, then your weapon will actually cause them to make a resolution check. And that's that resolution value. So like, you know, again, an endoskeleton will have a higher resolution versus like a human. And that's you know, you roll that check. If you fail it, you kind of are unable to do anything for a turn. If you roll like a really terribly, like a 1, your model will just run away. So even if you don't actually kill a model when you're shooting at it or, you know, attacking it, there's still a chance that you'll mess it up so that it won't be able to do anything, or it'll just retreat. Anything you want to add to it?
No, I mean, that sounds great. Let's go ahead and zoom in on our setup on the table, and we'll set up certain situations, and we'll kind of show how these mechanics actually work within the game. Sound good?
Yeah.
All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to kind of do a walkthrough of what a typical turn might look like. And then after that, we're going to talk about how you can actually come in and demo this game. But we'll go over that at the end. So for now, I'm going to give it back to Doug, and he's going to walk us through this turn.
Sure. Okay, at the beginning of a normal game turn, you and your opponent will do a tactical roll-off. Now, for the base game, that would just be a D8 versus D8, but sometimes you can have a commander that can up your die roll, you know, shift it so it's higher or not. So we'll just roll. So it looks like I got a 5 and he got a 2, so I get to choose what to do first. Now, every activation will what's called an impulse. You do a fate roll. So I have the first impulse. You roll a special fate die. It has 1s, 2s, and fate on one of the sides. If you roll a fate, you don't get any activations. If you roll a 1 or 2, then you can actually activate some of your models. Of course, fate can also allow different things to happen, like command abilities and such. So let's say for the purposes, I roll a 2. So I can activate 2 models. I actually declare which models I will activate first. So I'll get these 2 guys right here. I've got a guy with a missile launcher and a guy with a plasma rifle. So once you declare the models that you will activate, you then choose each one. You'll do each model's entire activation at first. So
any order you like.
Any order you like, yeah. So I could do this guy first or this guy first or whatever. Now, the included templates with the game give you not only your range bands, so this is a close quarters, you know, and this is point blank, and this is short range. Anything past the short range template is actually long range. It also gives you your values to hit. These are also your movement. So this is crawling, walking, and running. So say, for instance, I want to get this guy closer. So I will move him. You just position it, model one end of the template, and then you place him at the other end of the template. So now that model has moved, and I'm going to have him shoot. So now he's a lot closer, whereas before I might have been within that range. Now I'm actually within this range, and he'll tell me I need a 4 higher. So for a resistance soldier who's got a skill level of D6, so I'm going to shoot with my plasma rifle. It's actually a plasma carbine, so I can get 2 shots and 2 hits. Got to score 2 hits on him. Now it's a plasma carbine, so the armor value of an endoskeleton is an 8 or higher. So the power level is only D8. Now I needed 8 to kill this endoskeleton. So I did not get any kills. However, I still hit him. So Kevin needs to make a resolution check. Now, an endoskeleton resolution is a D20.
D20. All right. So just so we can show some of these mechanics, we're going to pretend I rolled 18 for one and a 3 for the other. Oh no, what happens? I rolled a 3.
Now, if you roll a 1 on your resolution check, your model just runs away. It's damaged beyond repair, or it just failed its courage or whatever. If you roll a 5 or less, not a 1, the model actually is now reeling. So what you'll do is you'll indicate reeling on the model. A reeling model will not only become activated so that it won't be able to activate this turn, but it also makes it easier to kill. So then say, I finished this model's activation, now I want this guy to go. So what he'll do, he'll try to run up and do the execution move that I mentioned in the earlier. So he will move up. I'm sorry.
You run.
Run.
Yeah. That should get you there.
So he will run.
So you can still run up and try to do the
You can
execution.
do run. Close quarters is the only thing you can do if you have run.
If you
You
do
can't.
run,
You can't do any other kind of range
Okay.
dance if you run.
So this is the range of a close quarters attack. So that endoskeleton is within range. So he will attempt to do just a close quarters attack. Now, the way that works is, you roll your normal attack die against. You're gonna need to pause it because I need to look up the roll.
We'll just do it real quick.
Reeling is just a D20 power.
It's
Yeah,
not
we
a
still need to hit, right?
it's not a skill check based on his skill level or something. No, it's the die,
I'll
right?
hit on a 2-0.
That's right. Okay, so continue. So
Yeah, that's fine.
when you attack a reeling model, you always hit on a 2 or higher. So he attacked, he hit, and a power level weapon is always D20 when you're attacking a reeling model. So I rolled a 15 there, so that will immediately destroy the endoskeleton.
Oh, no.
Now, if an endoskeleton is destroyed,
So if an endoskeleton is destroyed, you'll notice like this little crawler on the table. Normally crawlers don't start on the table. There might be specific scenarios where they do, but normally they do not. What they do is they have the I'll be back roll. If an endoskeleton is ever gone, you roll a d6, and on a 5 or a 6, a crawler will appear where he was. So I rolled a 3, I didn't get a crawler. Had I gotten a crawler though, he would have appeared there. He'd have on him basically whatever activation tokens that the endoskeleton had on him. So it's not like super awesome, but it's better than losing your guy.
yeah. So now that's the end of my activations. Now it's up to Kevin to roll his die for his his 2 remaining endos.
All right.
So he also rolled a 2, so he can declare the activations to take for up to 2 models. Now while he's doing that, I'll explain the fate die again as well. If you roll that fate, as I mentioned, you'll either get 0 activations, or you can actually use that fate to have command models use what's called no fate but what we make. So these special rules where the command model can activate, and they can use their command abilities to not only activate themselves on a fate roll, but activate other models as well, like kind of bringing them along in like a squad level format. So your basic infantry, you'll be activating one at a time, but once you start getting NCOs and lieutenants, you can activate entire units of guys. So he's activating his endoskeleton there. And
All right, so let's say I've got one endoskeleton. This guy's unfortunately already done. I've got one endoskeleton. Now, one thing I want to show is just how awesome and precision cut these templates are. Let's say I didn't want to go straight and like, oh, I want to make a turn because I don't want to go straight. If you noticed, this shorter one here is the length of that with the model in it on both sides. So if I want to turn, because I think these templates are great.
And you can
All
do
I
this,
gotta do is this.
You can do this while you're running, walking, or anything like that. You can split
Yeah,
up a movement
yeah, all the
into
templates
segments.
kind of match each other.
Wait, can you move and then shoot and then continue your move?
No, you cannot. Yeah, you
Okay,
got to
okay.
finish your movement. But we're going to go ahead and shoot. Endoskeletons, power skill is a D8.
D8.
I need a 4 higher to shoot, but just so we can see the cover mechanic, let's go ahead and say
As
a
you'll
hit.
see, he's within the 4 up
Yeah.
range.
So let's
you
say
actually have
yeah.
2 shots with your plasma gun, remember?
Oh, yeah. Well, we'll roll, but we'll say it. All right, so I did hit 1. There you go. All
Okay,
right.
so this is normal cover. So cover's always in a 4 higher. This normal cover is rated on a D6. As I mentioned before, soft cover is a D4, fortifications are D8. Everything is a dice shifting mechanic. So in this instance, I rolled a 3, so I do not get the cover save.
All right, so then I would go ahead and do my power is normal, D10 for a plasma rifle, is that right?
It is D8. Yeah, D8. Plasma,
Yeah,
Terminator
D8.
claws are D10. They're
That's right, Terminator.
punch right through, kill hacks.
So that would
big
certainly
slug
kill,
guy.
yeah.
Bing.
So
That's
kills
no
dude.
chance.
And they obviously don't turn into crawlers.
So as you can see, the Terminator, the endoskeleton, all the machine weaponry is very powerful. So you wind up losing a lot of resistance fighters if they're not managed well. Whereas resistance fighters, you kind of have to make a Terminator, make machines go reeling before you can
Sorry.
move to actually finish them off.
Something crazy happened with the camera and it refused to like pull out as I was panning, so that it's like weird seasickness situation right here. But that's fine. Everybody knows that we are not professionals, we're just a bunch of chumps. Okay.
All right, so we kind of shown how activations work. We've shown cover, we've shown reeling. Let's go ahead and move to the cleanup phase. The cleanup phase is super simple. You will pick up 1 token from each of your guys that was activated.
Yeah, you pick up 1 token from each of the guys that was activated. Notice there's still now 1 left on this endo, because when you make a model reeling, it gets those 2 already activated tokens, so that model will be reeling for the next turn. Another one of the advantages of having command models is a command model at the end of the turn, using his command rating, can clear up those reeling, because he's rallying the infantry, or in the case of endos, there's a command and control endoskeleton that is giving that endoskeleton orders. And then you just repeat the turn over again, and you alternate between rolling impulses, rolling the fate die, and everything like that, activating your models. So what you saw was a very basic overview of the very basic mechanics. Just a few humans versus endoskeletons, just 1 turn. The rulebook itself covers a lot more than that. There's more advanced rules for terrain, flying units, advanced movements, such like that. Units that cover modern day police and SWAT, so you can play out, the scenarios of an endoskeleton versus some, police officers in the original Terminator film. There's
Sure, that would be
rules
really
for-
fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because punching cock fist is D4, but if you're reeling somebody, the fist suddenly comes D20. Destroy Terminators with cock fist.
There's also additional rules for more Future War stuff, which is what everybody loves. So you've got the T-800 endoskeletons, you've got infiltrator rules, you've got T-1000 rules, you've got aerial hunter-killers, ground hunter-killers. The Resistance has normal Resistance fighters. They've got characters like John Connor and Kyle Reese, so they're good commanders. They even have rules for main battle tanks, armored personnel carriers, Humvees, upgun just pickup trucks, Apaches, Blackhawks. So you can play any era of the Terminator Future War. And one of the cool things about the actual box set is it comes with enough models that if you notice on the very back page here, it's actually 2 full 500-point armies, including characters, command, and one of the neat things about this game, time displacement agents, where you can actually send your guys back in time in the middle of the game in order to get rerolls on your dice.
What?
It says in the rules you have to come up with a story.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
yeah, there you go.
official. You got to role play it out.
Yeah, and then so of course that whole bevy of army list comes with a whole, extra rules for heavy weapons and stuff like that. So you can have an entire battlefield with aerial HKs and Abrams main battle tanks and tons of guys just all fighting over ruined cityscapes in Los Angeles in 2029. It's fantastic. And this game has just come out. They've already released a few expansion sets with some of the newer endoskeletons. They've released a Schwarzenegger figure and a Sarah Connor, John Connor figure. But they'll be coming out with more and more stuff, as the game progresses. But as it stands, as I mentioned before, it's one of the tightest rule sets I've ever read. Very elegant core mechanics. Once you learn the rules, you almost never have to look at the rulebook again. And then another cool thing, let me quick add in there, when it comes to scenarios, there's 6 different scenarios, 6 different deployments, and each player will have his own scenario and deployment. So there's not only 36 different ways that each player will set up and play his army, but you'll be playing against different missions. So a lot of the times you won't even know what your opponent's mission is.
That's
you kind
cool.
of have to figure it out as you're playing and trying to accomplish your own. Because who knows what is in the mind of Skynet versus like what is John Connor up to today?
What's he up to today? Heading to the grocery store. Terminator.
All right, well, that's pretty cool. I know you guys always say, oh, we're a store, we're filming a video, so we have to say the game is fantastic. Well, if you're not sold on the video alone, August 29th, we're going to have a demo day. This will be one of the miniatures games demoed on that day. So come on down and demo it. If you are sold on the video, we've got the stuff in stock now. Come and get it because it's great. If you don't know where we are located, if you go into the introduction underneath this video, there should be a link to our website, and that'll have our address on there. Well, that's all we got for today, gamers. Stay tuned for our next video.